Okay. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm trying to wake up.
I know, me too. I still didn't finish my coffee.
So I got my yummy drink mixture of everything you could
Mm,
possibly want in there. Avocado,
healthy.
bananas, blueberries, everything. It's really yummy.
Nice.
So you're going to go to work today. What time? 10?
So I'm going to leave at 10 because I actually going to Philadelphia.
Oh,
And the thing is like today we are expecting the thunderstorms and I don't know how the traffic going to be. So
oh,
I'm planning to leave early because I have to be there at 1:30 p.m.
oh, okay.
And
Okay. So you're
yeah.
driving.
hmm
Oh, fun.
So I usually prefer to come maybe like an hour early and just, chill there
Yeah.
because you never know what could happen.
Got to
I
be on
remember
time and early.
exactly, yes.
So did you
Also, it's
get
a
that through Joy?
mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to QVC, and usually there is a studio I know where we are shooting regular, clothing, spring, summer, winter, fall.
Yeah.
But this time is something different. So I don't know exactly where the studio is located. And I don't know if you know, but the QVC itself, it's so big. And if
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
know, I gotta give myself some time to find the place so I don't have to rush in it.
And you don't get lost. If you get lost, you
Yeah,
have plenty of time.
yeah,
What a good
exactly.
model. So
Thank
prepared.
you.
She's got her model bag. She's got her directions. She's got leaving early. All good.
Got up at like 6 today, like already made a TikTok because
Oh,
I was like,
good.
okay, I needed to get ready, of course. And
Right.
since pandemic started, I only worked once, so my stuff is all over the place. I was like, okay, what do I usually put in my model bag? Let me find everything.
You're supposed to have it ready or by the door.
It's just so different. Like I didn't have it ready because I've been using some stuff and moving around because I didn't need it.
Right, right. I know for a while, right? So,
Yeah.
all right. So I'm gonna jump in with some questions because now we're on part two of interview of you and I.
Yay.
Hey, part two now, because last time we talked forever, and
I
we
know, right?
a little bit. But anyway, so and I can't remember. Did we talk about when did you get started in modeling?
Yes, I mean, I don't think I ever finished it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, right, right, right.
Because
Yeah.
I actually started 3 years ago, and it started here in US because I was telling a lot about how, like their life in Russia. I never modeled in Russia. So when I moved to US, I actually started modeling here because modeling was something I always wanted to do. And but at the time, I already graduated from college and, I didn't have a job. So I decided that let me try and see how modeling gonna go. And at first, I spent a few month just researching what's the modeling is about, like how do you find the modeling agency, like what do you need, how do you approach photographers, and all of that.
Was it hard to find information? That's what I want to know. Was it hard to find online?
Yes,
Okay, yeah.
definitely, because
Okay.
I would say that there were a lot of models on YouTube that would share information, but they all were saying the same thing: just take your pictures and send to an agency, and then magic happens. But magic does not didn't happen. As a new model, and maybe you'll get lucky just by submitting digitals to agencies, but that does not happen to everyone. So I always recommend beginner models to start doing something, attend local networking events, blogger events in your area, try to connect with local photographers. So that's kind of what I think worked for me, because I started doing this locally and I met a lot of people, and that's how we met, because there were a lot of networking going on. So I did a few test shoots, and when I got to do the shoot with Notshot, so she told me about you. That's how we connected, and that would never. I feel like that would never happen if I didn't take this like first step.
Right. So when you, and why did you start? What made you want to become a model or start to model? What made you want to do that?
First of all, I already kind of mentioned that because I was constantly asked if I was a model. So I guess,
okay.
yeah, so I guess like I just wanted to, at some point I was like, let me show people that I am actually a model.
Because people were asking you, so you're like, oh, I
yes.
probably should model because people were asking me.
Yeah, so that was one thing. But also, I remember that moment when the first time I watched Victoria's Secret fashion show. And I was so amazed seeing these beautiful women, and I really liked the message because they're all hardworking women, and it kind of like I feel like that show really inspired me to go into this business. And now like I'm trying to be this role models for other girls. So, you know, by growing my social media and inspiring others in general, like if you want to achieve anything in life, just go after it.
Right. And that's what you have to do. And so what are some of the things that you love about the modeling business and some of the things that are maybe not your favorite?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, the most beautiful thing is working with people, because you get to work with so many different people, and I'm super extroverted. So for me, going to to a shoot, meeting new people, it's always exciting. I know, so for some girls it's challenging, but I actually really love it. And you know, that's how you also learn something, because you learn from people a lot.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to travel as much for modeling. I only traveled to like Philadelphia and New York area, but that's also been pretty exciting because I love driving. And I was forced to learn to drive very quickly.
Did you drive in Russia? No.
So I actually went to school in Russia to get license. I got it, but I never drove in Russia. So it was pretty much like right before I got here. So, but that actually helped me a lot because US accepts your international driver license. You still have to go through all the process, doing like the learner's permit and then taking a test. So it's the same, but the difference is that you don't have to hold learner's permit for like 9 months. So you can just go and do this knowledge test and then do the driver test. So you don't have to wait. So that helped.
Yeah. So, okay. So some of the things you love are that you love meeting people and getting to know people. So what is something that's not your favorite? I mean,
so what I don't like is that modeling is so inconsistent. So sometimes you get so busy with work and then you have nothing, and you start like freaking out and thinking, oh my God, what I'm doing wrong.
Right.
And then, and this is like the way it is. And we have slow season, we have like, you know, times when we are working a lot, and also that you get booked last minute.
Right.
So then you have to rearrange your plans, and maybe if you made some commitment with your friends or your family, so you also kind of have to.
You have to cancel.
Yeah. Like, sorry.
Yeah. So you don't like that it's inconsistent, right?
Yeah.
So if you could go back 3-4 years, what would you have done differently?
Okay. First of all, like that's.
I mean, 3 years isn't that far back, but I'm just just wondering if there was anything that you thought now you're like, oh, I could have done that differently. What would have been? So it's just for advice for other people who want to model. Yeah.
I definitely feel like that. I thought that I had enough time, and I've been thinking about modeling when I was like 18, 19, and I would just go for it earlier because I was always like kind of pushing it. And when I started, I was already 23 years old, which is okay. But if you're trying to go into the fashion industry, that's much harder, and age is an issue, of course. And I totally get it from other girls, because I always get these messages like, you know, I'm scared to start. I don't know like what to do. I also feel like I needed a push at one point, and I already mentioned that in previous episode that I went to DC Fashion Week, and Serge was the one who bought the tickets and told me to go, because I did all the research, but I was not really doing anything because I tried submitting photos. It did not work out. And there were not a lot of information, and nobody really talked about other ways to get into the industry, that you can actually do this local stuff and kind of like gain experience. And through networking, you can actually find an agent. That's what happened to me.
Yeah, you found me. Through networking and other agencies too, like in Philadelphia. And so I mean, that's definitely, networking is a big way to get into it. And so if you were to tell any new girls like in the business, what would be your advice? Like the first thing that you would tell them? Networking for sure, but what would be something else that you would tell them?
Definitely do your own research, because that's something I faced at the beginning, especially in this area, when you meet someone, another model or a photographer, and they start telling you bad things about this agency or that photographer. And that's their opinion. So that does not mean that it's true, or maybe they had a bad experience with this agency.
Right.
So I would say that do your own research. One agency could be a good fit for one model and not as good for another one. That's why, like, I get it. Like, some girls would say, "Oh my God, I hate this agency. Like, I never got booked with them."
Right.
Because that wasn't wasn't the right fit. So that's something I feel like is very important, because as a beginner model, there are going to be a lot of people that you're going to think that they have authority and they're going to say things, but you still have to have your own opinion and see how it goes. Do your own research, ask other people.
Yeah, and and it's sort of like when I do placement and scouting, and some agency, people will be like, well, why can't I be with IMG, or why can't I be with Elite, or certain agencies, and then every agency has their own type of model that they like. So even if you're not right for Wilhelmina, you might be right for Major Models or Red it just depends on, always depends on what the agencies are looking for. So it's not necessarily has anything to do with you too. It's just what they want at the time, or maybe they have somebody who looks like you. So they're like, sorry, we already have you. So, so try another agency. Yeah.
Also, I wanted to add to that, that from your perspective, you also don't want to be with an agency. Let's say IMG doesn't want you, but you get signed, and then you ended up not working with them. Right. Because they just don't have right clients for you. So you also want to go with an agency that is excited about you, and they know that they can get you booked, so you'll be working.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you definitely want to, and you want to have the agents, the managers inside the agency to be excited about you. I mean, if they have too many girls at one time, like a big agency, sometimes they have, one manager may have 20 girls, and maybe it's a little too much for them to take care of. So sometimes it's good to start out with a smaller agency in that way, because then you get more attention, and then, so, one of the things that I wanted to ask you, because you definitely stay healthy and fit. And so, eating wise, like, what do you eat and what do you do to stay healthy and for modeling?
So I would say that for me, it's all about the balance. And I've been searching for, let's say, like, right diet for myself for a long time, because I had an experience of gaining weight before modeling. So when I was an exchange student in Finland, so there was a different experience, like living by yourself, like partying a lot. So I was not even eating really healthy. So I think I was like 20 years old probably. So when I went to Finland, so it was a different lifestyle. And I came back with like 20 extra pounds. So I never thought I could gain any weight, because I've been always eating whatever and never gain any weight. So that was the moment that made me thinking about eating healthy. So then I kind of been searching, like I tried so many things. I feel like I try like eating like frequently, like 5 times per day, eating like fasting and all of that. So I tried everything. And then I kind of got into the science of it to see what actually happening in your body when you eat certain foods.
Right.
And I actually did learn a lot and realize that a lot of people have this misconception that it's all about the calories, and that's actually not true. And even though like the fitness industry going to tell you the opposite, and I truly believe that it's not about the calories, and it's also very hard to actually calculate how many calories you're eating.
Yes, very hard. I've tried that before. It doesn't work. You are to eat, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do think that makes a big difference. I mean, if you're eating avocados, I mean, I'd be okay with that being avocado. You know what I mean? Like, eating healthy, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of calories, what I was trying to say that, you know, they give you the number you see on the package. It's an approximate number. They don't really know what the effect on your body going to be, because it's, you know, people say it's physics. It's not physics. It's physiological response of your body.
Right.
And that actually dictated by your hormones. And some people, you know, have hormone imbalance, so you can eat a little bit and still gain weight. So it's more complicated. You know, for me, what I try to do, I try to limit amount of sugar and carbs I eat, and eat
that was
greens.
my next question. Do you eat many sweets or sugar, you know, sugar?
I never had a sweet tooth anyway, so it was not a big problem for me to cut out sweets. But I do like bread. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I love bread, and like bread with butter, it was like so good.
Yeah.
But I do try to limit the amount of it. I feel like you just have to listen to your body and see where's the limit. So maybe for me it's like 1 piece of bread, but another person can have 3 pieces of bread, or
like me, you can have none because my hormones are all crazy now. The older you get. Yeah.
That's been interesting, because I definitely gone through things where I was not as healthy. Like, I experienced binge eating because I was restricting myself a lot, and then I binge eat, and that's not healthy. It's like the worst thing that could happen to you, because you eat so many calories at one sitting.
Or not eating is horrible too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And imagine like that. So what happens with your body is like, it's freaking out. Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Why we have this war, but then we're like overloading with food.
Right. So what are some of your goals that you have for modeling, let's say in the next 5 years? What is sort of your plan that you want to do?
I really don't like those questions, because I feel like whenever people ask you about your 5-year plan, 10-year plan, it's good to have it. It's good to write it down, to know what some of the clients you want to work for. Yeah. Because I think that's important. But it's also put so much pressure on yourself. So if you do not achieve it, I feel like, you know, you feel bad about yourself. So that's why, like, I kind of don't like it. Because for me, like, when I was starting out 3 years ago, I thought that, okay, by the age of 25, whatever, I'm already going to be modeling in New York. But that didn't happen. For me, what would be amazing, like, I really want to start modeling in New York City, because New York is like the closest city, and it's the biggest market. Yeah. And hopefully, I mean, I can do more work there.
Yeah. And so do you have any goals that you want to maybe have? Okay, we won't call it goals. We're down the road.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. But do you have any, do you have any, like, you know, that you want to have kids, or, you know, sort of plans like that in the future?
I mean, definitely, probably in a few years.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of like, right now, like, I feel like this is the time where I'm growing and I have so much going on. It's not just modeling. So we're also doing model secrets workshops. So that's something that needs a lot of attention and a lot of work.
It's a big baby.
Yes. And I'm also starting out another job. So I'll be working with Bitter Grace. So I'm going to be Chief Creative Officer for them. So I'm going to be managing all the social media.
Right.
So that's going to be also a big part. So I really need this time to develop myself.
Right.
So then, like, when everything kind of smoothly going,
Yeah.
I can, I can have kids, one kid.
One.
Like,
well, I have one, and that's enough.
yes.
And so, do you have any plans to go? I mean, I know that you're here in America now, but do you have any plans to go back to Russia? I mean, is that something that I mean, of course, when everything lifts, but, is that something that you have planned?
Not back maybe to visit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, I mean to visit.
Yeah. Probably, but it's just so hard right now because I get so busy with work because I could not imagine taking like 3 weeks off. But because the thing is, like, you want to go for a few weeks because the time difference and all of that. I'm hoping to get a citizenship soon. So once I get it, I'm going to feel more comfortable going.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it my turn yet?
Yes. Yes, it is.
So my question was, because we already talked about your modeling journey, and I just wanted to ask you, how did the transition happen for you from being a model to being an agent?
Right. So when I was modeling, I think I had mentioned that before, but I definitely would help the girls with their portfolios and try to pick out their pictures and put their books together. So I was doing that already. And then I was in Los Angeles and I was still modeling, and there was an agency out there called Flame, and I was still modeling for them, but then they needed somebody to come in and help. And the owner of the agency said to me, hey, will you do me a favor and pick out some of these pictures? And I was like, yeah, sure. So that's kind of how I got started, and that I worked on the other side while I was still modeling. So I was picking out girls' pictures and I was still modeling. And then I know. And then when I came back home to Virginia, and I helped start a local agency, and I was placing girls then. So I kind of got into the scouting and placement even before I moved up to New York. So then I got offered a job to work at Paris, USA, where it was a pretty good agency at the time. And so I learned from, his name was Douglas Ash and Louise Roberts, and they both were like at Ford and Elite and had opened up their own agency. And I started working there with Scott Lips. And I mean, there was a whole bunch of people that were at this smaller agency, worked there. And then I helped open APM Models, which is in New York, and they're still open. And I was the only agent there. So it was
really
crazy. Yeah. And I had like 40 girls, and I was setting up appointments, working on their jobs and working on their portfolios. I was doing everything by myself. And I did that.
That's amazing.
I know. And I was like, Penny, who's the owner of APM. I was like, Penny, we got to hire somebody else. I can't do this all myself. And she was running another division of APM. And so I was just doing the girls. And so I do open calls, work on the portfolios, set up tests, set up jobs. It set up castings. It was crazy, but it was a really good experience because it got me to sort of New York, know the New York way, and, just get to know all the models and what they need, and, everything. I knew it was like a intense course of how to be a manager, like 3 years. And then I moved to Elite, and I worked at Elite. They asked me to come over there, and I worked at Elite, which seemed like my dream job at the time because I had also modeled for them. So it was kind of a 360, on the other side of that. And that was a great experience because, you're dealing with really huge models like Giselle, and, people would walk in, you'd be like, oh my God, you're working there, but you still kind of get a little awestruck at times. And John Casablanca owned it. So, it was Elite. It was a huge agency and great to work for. And then I transitioned into working at Bryan Bantry, and they represented hair, makeup, and some of the older models. and photographers like Patrick Demarchelier and Russell James, who shoots Victoria's Secrets, and, you know, Patrick Demarchelier. And so I'd help put together their books, and then I was representing the stylists and the models. So, and I worked there for like 5 years, long time. So then I know it's crazy, right? And then I came back to Virginia. I got married, got divorced within a month's time. It was one of those quick, you know, married, divorce. And then I moved back to Virginia, and then I started the scouting and placement agency, which I've had now for 12, 15 years. I don't know. I've had it a long time now. I place a lot of girls and guys with agencies all over. So the agencies that I placed them with would be IMG, Elite, Wilhelmina, Major, Image, Funny Face. Did I leave out any? I'm like trying to think.
What about New York models?
Yes, New York models. Thank you. Yeah, I've placed a couple of people. Actually, I've placed about 4 girls with New York models, and I just recently placed another girl with New York models and LA models. I've worked a lot with Next. I haven't found anybody for them. Ford, haven't found anybody for them, but the industry. So I've placed a lot of girls. I mean, I placed 2 girls with Red, but a lot of girls with Major too. I was trying to think. So, so been doing that a long time, and it's been great. I mean, I really love working with the girls and helping them. You know, I had 2 girls up there that are twins at one point in time, and one was with IMG and one was with Major, and, you know, they were, you know, and they're living together up in New York. That was pretty exciting.
That's amazing. Yeah. So what are you looking in girls right now? I mean, in 2020?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's always going to be the, you know, of course you want them to be beautiful, but then there's the model that maybe isn't the most beautiful for the average person, but a really unique look. I think that's majorly the major thing that I look for is a unique look. And it doesn't matter about height anymore. I mean, I just signed a girl who is 5'6". So,
that's great.
But for me, I really look for just different features, different personality, and the different personality too. I think, like, you know, Mads, which is she signed with IMG, and she did Yves Saint Laurent, you know, campaign, and she's doing some other campaigns. She's been on the cover of Vogue a couple of times, and Numero, but she's beautiful, really beautiful, but really unique. So I think that's one of the things I look for the most is and also too, you know, the face has to be symmetrical. So you look kind of for that. Kind of hard to describe. It's something that I intuitively know what to look for. But the personality makes a world of difference too. So if a girl is beautiful and gorgeous, but she has a blah personality, she's not going to make it in the business at all. I mean, she has to be, and even if she is not an outgoing person, she has to kind of fake that, because, you know, you're with clients all week long or 2 weeks long, or, you know,
exactly.
Yeah, you have to have a wonderful personality that you get along with people. So
absolutely.
So it's a combination of a lot of things that I look for, and it's really a needle in a haystack. It really is. I mean, it's hard to find the perfect girls. I mean, you know, or guys that agencies want to sign, and like I had said before, is always different. I mean, so one agency wants this look, and another agency wants this look, and you kind of have to know what agency wants what look. Yeah. You know, like, I would say IMG definitely wants somebody who's 5'11" and maybe a size 2 or 4, but now they want some curved girls. So it just depends. Totally depends. Yeah.
So what about developing process? Like, what do you do when you have a new girl that just, you know, that doesn't know anything about modeling? So what are the first things she'll be doing?
Well, I mean, the very first thing she could do was to take Model Secrets, not online. That was because that actually, what we teach in our workshop, I think, encompasses everything that a new model should know. And even somebody who's been doing it for a little while. But I mean, I think it really encompasses everything. But so when I first find a girl, you know, the first thing I'll do is ask for digitals. And the digitals need to be very clear, background, no makeup. And I'll get so many digitals that have makeup, or they're showing me these sexy poses or whatever. I don't do any of that. Just that, you know, most natural poses you can do, just, you know, casual, no makeup, hair down, hair up, sideways, you know, very simple. So that would be my first suggestion, is for them to do that. So then I really get a close look of what they look like. And then in the development phase, I would send them to a photographer that I thought that was really good, like Nostrad. I mean, there's some few photographers that I like here in Virginia. I mean, of course, there's some in New York that you can go up and test with. But in Virginia, there's a handful that I like to test with. And I like a certain type of look. So I'll have the girls only test with them. So, you know, you've shot with Nostrad and you know what kind of look she is. And mine, I would say mine is more going to be on the high fashion side than the more commercial, but I do have some commercial girls too. And that would take another photographer. So get them tested, you know, get them tested, whether it costs a little bit of money. Sometimes you have to invest. Sometimes the photographer has a great idea for lighting or a shoot, or they, you know, have a concept they want to do. So then great, you get the test for free. Maybe you have to bring clothes. You know, I have some girls next week that are doing a test, and the mom is so into clothes. So she's gone and, you know, bought all these different kind of clothes, sending me pictures of them. And so that, you know, and then, so then they can do a free test with the photographer because he has a concept. So that's my development part of that. And then I put them on my website, and then I send out to all the agents that I know in New York, which, I mean, I have a list of a lot. I'd say probably 25 agencies that I work with, but you know, 10, the top 10, 11, 12, there's like 12 top agencies that I work with. And then I send out those pictures with the digitals and see who likes who. So that's basically how I do my start to kind of going into developing a girl.
And then do you go with the girls to New York to meet with the agencies? I mean, before COVID?
Before COVID, always. Yeah. So, you know, and I brought up, I'd say probably, I brought up a lot of girls. I mean, over the years, I can't even tell you how many, but, you know, one time I brought up about 10 girls. That was crazy. It was crazy. Wow. I don't think I'd do it that way again, because, I mean, it's great because we, you know, all go into the appointments and everybody, you know, it's great for the agents get to see them all at one time, but it's a little overwhelming, I think. So what I really like to do is maybe 2 or 3 at a time. And even one I've done, you know, where I just bring up one girl and show to all the agencies. And usually the agencies are really good about, you know, doing one-on-one appointments, make special appointments with them. So I'm really grateful about that, because, you know, who wants to go to an open call where there's 150 people, you know? So yeah, I mean, I would always go up with the girls, stay in a hotel, and then we do about 4 or 5 appointments a day to go see agencies. And then at the end, we kind of see who liked them, what agencies liked them, what agencies didn't, and then kind of pick through which agency is best for that model, which is sometimes hard. It's hard to choose.
I bet, like, if IMG and Wilhelmina wants to represent you, like, you're really gonna have a top choice.
Right, and you kind of go with, you know, and we've had that tough choice before, and you kind of go with whoever you feel like intuitively the best with, and what manager you felt really good with, and, you know, felt good vibes from them. It's important to go with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to go with your gut feeling. And I have one more question for you.
Okay.
So what would you recommend aspiring model, someone who is looking into doing modeling now or in a few years? Like, what would be your advice?
Well, I would say, sending in digitals to agencies is a good way. Like, you had talked about that, but also networking, meeting photographers, going on Instagram, looking for photographers that you really find that their work is amazing, messaging them, asking them if they'll shoot. But, make sure if you're doing that you're also clearing that everybody's safe and good, and, doing shoots as much as possible. I would say practice in the mirror. I mean, one of the things too, I find that, girls will send me pictures and they're just not appropriate pictures. So, you want to make sure that they're just natural and just be yourself in the pictures, especially in the beginning. Yeah. I mean, you don't want to, you don't want to be something you're not in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I would say send in digitals. That's the best way. Close up of the face, not with friends. I get that too. I get a lot of people that send in these group pictures. I'm like, okay, but which one are you? Yes, I know.
Oh.
It's crazy. Or the moms will send pictures of the whole family. I'm like, okay, which one are we trying to, which one do you want me to say? But, yeah, that would be mine. And definitely to do your research, like you had said, research online about different agencies or different scouts, and right now I feel like there is I've been doing scouting and placement a long time, 15 years. And now I feel like this year and last year, there has been so many new scouts. It's like, I'm sorry, but you have to know what you're doing. You just can't say, oh, now I'm a scout. I really think that's, sort of be careful on who you kind of go with, what scout you go on. And I've heard from big agencies and big scouts that work at big agencies, that there's a lot of frauds out there. So I would say to be careful on that, and to, and don't pay money up front with agencies. Even if it's a local agency, I would say don't pay the money up front. Let the agency pay your way, instead of you pay up front money the whole time. And, and paying for these websites and all that kind of stuff in the beginning, I think is silly. It's a waste of money, really. That's my opinion. I know some people wouldn't agree with that, but.
I mean, it's common fees, but agencies, good agencies, if you do that, they try to just deduct it from your paycheck.
Yes.
So at least they make sure they book you, so you make money, and then it's not like you just came to an agency and you have to pay them for
right.
For
and
what?
I've heard that a couple of times. Like, I'll have girlfriends who have cute kids or cute teenagers, and they'll say, oh, I'm with an agency. And it's like, really? Well, you did pictures and you got a comp card. Does that really mean that you're with an agency? You haven't worked any, so I just don't agree with that. I don't think that's the best way to kind of go about it, spending like $2,000 in the beginning. I mean, that's my opinion only, but I just don't feel like that's a great way to get into modeling. But I guess it depends on what kind of modeling you want to do, right?
Yeah, and also if you have, spending on your test, if you have the budget, there's nothing wrong with that. And I always say it, that you either pay with money or you pay with your time. Because I paid with my time, and it took me a year to build the portfolio, just because not every single photographer gonna say yes to a trade shoot. So that's why it took a while I saw the photographer doing this model call. So when they are actually very interested in doing something, because I did not have money at the time.
Right.
So it's an investment. Yeah. So if you can. So that's actually great if you have, the budget at the beginning, and you can just pay for your test and get great pictures done. That's the best, if you can.
Right. And for me in the beginning, so when I first went away to Spain, here's another thing that one of the girls asked me 2 days ago. She said, well, she's in England, and she said, well, if I come to America, will they pay my way to come and meet with agencies? And I'm like, no, sometimes you have to pay your own way to get to where you want to get. So, So, even for me, when I first went to Spain, was the first agency I went with in Barcelona. I mean, I had to pay my way. So sometimes you do have to, the agency didn't pay my ticket there. But then when I went to Paris and they did pay my way. So it just depends on each circumstances, really.
Exactly. You also have to make sure you keep track of all these expenses, because the thing is, like, the agency might pay for your hotel, but it's actually going to come out from your paycheck.
Yes,
a lot of people have this. A lot of people have this misconception that models get paid for everything, for like hotels, flights, and have this beautiful life. Right. That's business. That's not how that works.
Right. And even, models that are doing really well, if I have some girls that are doing, are working, but maybe they want to go to Paris to try to work a little bit more. So they have to pay for that ticket. I mean, it's okay. It's an investment. I mean, you go to college, you invest a lot of money in college. I never went to college, but you invest money in it. So it's okay to invest a little bit of that kind of money to go somewhere or to do, beautiful tests if you find a fantastic photographer. But make sure it's a great photographer, not just an okay photographer you're paying for.
Definitely. Like, that's something I've been doing. I've been to Virginia Beach a few times just doing this test, because DC is limited. There are not many good photographers here. And but at one point I already tested with everybody, and I needed better pictures. And I knew, I don't know, somehow Virginia Beach has.
They do. I know. Isn't it crazy? They do.
Yeah.
You have two good
There
ones.
are good photographers there. So, and for me, it was like 4 hours, I think, drive. So I went there twice to get the pictures done.
But it was worth it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think we covered everything, didn't we?
Yes, I know. That was so amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
And I need to get ready for the shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of ready.
Yeah, you're kind of ready. Did you have to do your makeup and hair? Because it looks great.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you have to come makeup ready. Yeah, I know. I'm going to send some more people out to agencies today. See who wants to sign more girls. Yay!
Amazing. Yeah.
All right. Well, have a good day.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.